From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, President Buhari orders security agencies to rescue 50 remaining abducted train passengers alive. President Muhammadu Buhari nominates 7 new ministers, seeks Senate confirmation. Chief Justice of Nigeria replies Supreme Court justices on deplorable condition of courts. And on the foreign scene, Russia says death penalty not ruled out for captured U.S. citizens. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has insisted that the 51 or more victims of the Kaduna-Abuja train attack who are still in captivity must be brought home alive. The kidnappers had demanded for the release of their own children and despite governments acceding to their demand, had let go only 11 of the victims, even though more releases were expected. However, the president has approved that government will continue to its two-lane kinetic and non-kinetic approach to secure the passengers' safe release. A statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, on Tuesday, said defense, security and intelligence agencies had given assurances that they would intensify operations aimed at securing the rescue of all hostages and restoring peace to all parts of the country. President Buhari welcomed the return of the recently released passengers to their families and loved ones and expressed his solemn commitment to the families of those still in captivity that others in captivity will be reunited with their families as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has reiterated the commitment of the federal government to ensure adequate and quality data for successful policies in the agricultural sector. Ahmed, represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Olushola Idowu, said this at a train-the-trainer workshop on the National Agricultural Sample Census in Abuja. The minister said the federal government had placed high standards on quality data by ensuring that the National Bureau of Statistics was well equipped to carry out its functions. She added that the agricultural sector was important to the federal government, which was why the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration invested heavily in it since 2015. President Muhammadu Buhari has forwarded the names of 7 ministerial nominees to the Senate for screening and confirmation. Buhari's letter was read on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday by the President Ahmed Lawan at the start of plenary. The report.
Following the resignation of some cabinet ministers ahead of the 2023 general election, President Muhammadu Buhari this Tuesday forwarded names of nominees to fill the vacuum. The nominees are to replace ministers in his cabinet who had resigned to contest the presidential primaries of the All Progressive Congress as well as other offices.
I have the honor to forward the underlisted ministerial nominees for confirmation by the Senate. 1. Henry Ikechukwu Iko, Abia State. 2. Umana Okon Umana, Akwa Ibom State. 3. Ekuma Nkama Joseph Nkama, Ebonyi State. 4. Goodluck Nana Opia, Imo State. 5. Umar Ibrahim Eliakub, Kano State. 6. Ademola Adewole Adegorie, Ondo State. And 7. Odum Udi, River State. Copies of their curriculum vitae are attached herewith. It is my hope that this exercise will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the distinguished members of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please accept, Mr. Senate President, the assurances of my highest regards. Signed, yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
Others are Uche Oga, who contested and won the fractional Abia State governorship primaries, and Tayo Alasho-Adura, who contested and lost the APC senatorial primaries. Some of the cabinet ministers who resigned for the purpose of contesting the presidential primaries include Godswill Akpabio, Rotimi Amechi, Ogbonnaya Onu, and Chukwuemeka Nwajuba.
3 senators belonging to the ruling All Progressive Congress APC have resigned their membership of the ruling party. The lawmakers are Senators Ahmed Babba Keita, Katsina North, Lawal Yahaya Gumo, Bauchi South, and Francis Alibikena, Edo North. The report.
The defection by the 3 lawmakers reduces the total number of APC senators from 70 to 67.
This letter is from distinguished Senator Lawal Yahaya Gumo. My dear SP, I write to formally announce to the Senate that I, Senator Lawal Yahaya Gumo, withdraw my membership of APC and join NNPP. This is due to injustices done to myself and my office during the just concluded primary election process. Signed, Senator Lawal Yahaya Gumo, Bauchi South Senatorial District. Senator Francis Asekame Elimekena. Your Excellency, change of political party. I write to formally inform you and my distinguished colleagues of my decision to join the People's Democratic Party, PDP, from the All Progressives Party.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has nominated Senator Philip Aduda as the new minority leader of the Senate. Also nominated is Senator Chukwuka Utazi as a new minority whip. The nominations were contained in a letter signed by the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Senator Samuel Anyanwu. The letter read at Tuesday's plenary by the Senate President Ahmed Lawan indicates that Senator Philip Aduda is nominated by the party to replace the former minority leader, Senator Eninaya Abaribe. Abaribe last week formally announced his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA.
The PDP, the President of the Senate, Your Excellency, confirmation of the Senate caucus nomination of Senator Philip Tanimu Aduda as Senate Minority Leader. The above subject matter hereby refers. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is pleased to confirm to you the nomination of Senator Philip Tanimu Aduda as the new Senate Minority Leader. The nomination of Senator Aduda is for the replacement of the vacant seat of the Minority Leader created by the defection of Senator Eninaya Abaribe to the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. Please kindly accord Senator Philip Tanimu Aduda all the necessary cooperation and rights due the office. Accept the assurance of my esteemed regards. Signed, Senator Samuel N. Anyanwu, National Secretary.
The opposition party, PDP, also indicated that Senator Chukwuka Utazi is now the new minority whip, a position previously held by Senator Aduda.
And this just in, the Nigerian Army says it has rescued 2 Chibok girls during its operations in Bama and Gwoza local governments of Borno State. The theater commander of Operation Haɗin Kai, Major General Christopher Musa, who disclosed this in his recent operations update, said the 2 Chibok girls were rescued in 2 separate operations. Musa, who stated that 57,000 Boko Haram terrorists have surrendered and are undergoing rehabilitation and investigation, urged communities not to trade with terrorists.
The ones are encouraged to surrender. Now, for those ones who are still in the bushes, what we are telling them is that they still have the opportunity to come out. They can see, since the other ones have surrendered, nothing has happened to them. They are being treated nicely, treated humanely. And so they have that freedom. Let them not listen to their commanders. That if you trade with them, they are a bunch of criminals. They have no respect for human life. We have seen what they've done to the scrap metal people, how they just kill them, all because they were doing trading and because they were interacting with them. So people should avoid them. We have troops. We want to ensure that farmers go back to their farms, be able to farm very well. Last year, the harvest was good. We want this year the harvest to be better.
One of the operations that were conducted in that general area actually displaced most of the terrorists in that general area. And Hawaii Joseph was one of the people that the troops found and brought back to Burma. From there, she was taken to the hospital, checked, and since then she has been rehabilitated. Secondly is Mary Dauda, who was rescued on the 14th of July. She was rescued around the general area of Ngoshe. That's in 26th Task Force Brigade area, in Goza general area. Troops on patrol also during Operation Desert Sanity encountered, after clearing some of the areas, they met her and rescued her with her baby and brought back to Goza for onward movement to this general area.
And the House of Representatives on Tuesday moved to address issues of substandard products in the country, even as it took a decision on the section of the Electoral Act 2022. Details of this and more in this report.
The House of Representatives has called for a thorough investigation into the large-scale distribution and sales of substandard Harpic, Hypo, and other non-effective disinfectants into the Nigerian market to unsuspecting customers. The motion was sponsored by Representative Sergius Ogun from Edo State at Tuesday's plenary. Citing sections 88 subsection 1 and 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, the lawmaker in his argument called for investigation into the activities of any authority involved in the matter. The motion was supported after some amendments and passed by the House.
The House is aware that Section 17E of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Act 2018 empowers the Commission to carry out investigations considered necessary or desirable in connection with matters within the purview of the Act. The House is concerned that toilet cleaning disinfectants such as Harpic and Hypo used in most households in Nigeria are ineffective, poor quality, and leave much to be desired. The House is worried that despite the poor quality of these toilet cleaning disinfectants, there are several television-sponsored advertisements that are misleading unsuspecting members of the public who rely on such adverse product information to make purchases.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives also on Tuesday stopped for the second time move to override the President on Section 84, subsection 8, which gives statutory delegates the power to vote in parties, congresses, and conventions. These followed a motion brought before the House by Representative Ben Igbakba on the need to veto President Muhammadu Buhari over his refusal to sign these sections of the Electoral Act, which empowers the statutory delegates to vote in conventions and congresses of their parties. The Deputy Speaker, Idris Wase, who presided over plenary, advised Representative Igbakba to follow due process, directing him to the Chairman, Rules and Business for proper guidance.
What you are supposed to do is possibly to ask the rules, if you are interested, write to the Speaker for a bill, seeking for that to happen, and then we go through the normal procedure as enshrined in our own House standing orders. I wish to kindly beg you to step down your motion, because that is not the right procedure to proceed on this particular matter. And then liaise with the Chairman House Rules to do the needful.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, has responded to 14 justices of the Supreme Court bench who had accused him of depriving them of their entitlements. The justices said their annual foreign training, meant to enhance capacity building for the country's judicial process, had been blocked by Justice Mohammed, while there had been no increase in their allowances for diesel and a lack of internet services to their residents and chambers. The justices also complained that they were plagued by accommodation problems, epileptic electricity supply to the Supreme Court, lack of drugs at the Supreme Court clinic, while their run-down vehicles had not been replaced. The writing of a protest letter by justices of the Supreme Court is very unusual, which is why the CJN refrained from joining issues with the justices until the letter was leaked. The response of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, contained in a statement by his media aide, Ahuraka Yusuf Isa, reminded his accusers that judges in all climes were to be seen and not heard. Justice Mohammed pointed out that, nevertheless, he had managed the resources at the disposal of the Apex Court effectively, adding that the Supreme Court was also affected by the economic and socio-political climate prevailing in the country. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Rivers State has confirmed the arrest of one of their security guards attached to its Obio Akwa area office by agents of the Department of State Security on allegation of extortion of money from members of the public. A statement signed by the Public Affairs Officer Geraldine Ekelemu on behalf of the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Obo Afanga, said INEC has zero tolerance to acts of extortion by its staff and would ensure that security agencies investigate the matter and any other allegations of illegality by its officials to ensure that every infraction is redressed and punished. The Commission, while advising members of the public to avoid acts of desperation that could render them vulnerable to fraudsters taking advantage of them, also encouraged them to report attempts of extortion to INEC or the security agencies. The Commission reaffirmed that all INEC offices in Rivers State are open and attending to potential registrants in the ongoing exercise to ensure that all eligible Nigerians get their voters' cards and participate in the elections. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission in the Federal Capital Territory is partnering with the European Union Support to Democratic Governance in Nigeria and a civil society group to mobilize youth across the nation's capital to participate in the ongoing nationwide continuous voters registration exercise. The Youth Vote Count Awareness Campaign 2.0 began on Monday and is already drawing out a large number of youth to register and get their permanent voters' cards. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu was there and now reports.
Youth Vote Count, a non-partisan initiative launched by the European Union with the aim of getting young people to participate more in the electoral process, is not only encouraging youth to register for their permanent voters' cards, but also to ensure they collect the cards when they are ready and head to the polls to vote come 2023.
The entire objective, or the objective of the campaign, is just to connect young people with centers of power, to get them to be a little bit more proactive in the governance process and to begin to shift culture and perception of young people.
Resident Electoral Commissioner for the FCT, Yahaya Bello, said the Commission welcomes the initiative and is prepared to ensure that all eligible voters who make it to the week-long Youth Vote Count campaign mega music concert are registered.
INEC has come up to support this initiative by deploying more than 50 iPad machines here in this building already. INEC has also deployed more than 150 staff to ensure that the program goes smoothly. Any other person who has partaken and is still partaking in the continued voter registration exercise, the TBC will not be ready immediately now until after the exercise.
Other partners championing the initiative say the mega music concert is part of efforts to address voter apathy among the youth in Nigeria, beginning with the registration and collection of permanent voters' cards.
The youth population on the voters register was about 51.1% in 2019. But as you can see from the images, from the videos across the country, there is interest on the part of young people to register and to vote in the next election. And for the partners, Our contribution to this is providing them that platform and that opportunity to get on the register.
With the efforts so far, many Nigerians who are yet to participate in the exercise wonder if INEC will extend the June 30 deadline for the registration of PVCs.
The Commission has a very good history of complying with court orders. That one I can assure you. I understand from the court papers that the Commission was asked to come on the 29th of this month to give course and submit certain documents. We are going to do that. But remember, once a matter goes to court, it is subject to talk on it, so I won't say more than that. Thank you.
Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
As preparations for the 2023 general elections intensify, stakeholders have stressed the need to enhance political participation among youth, women and persons with disabilities, especially in the formal spaces. A non-governmental organization believes youth need to be more involved in political activities and civic spaces in order to help proffer solutions to national challenges. The report.
Despite the signing into law of Not Too Young to Run bill into law by President Muhammadu Buhari on the 31st of May 2018, Nigerian political space is still mostly dominated by political actors who have been on the scene since the advent of the present dispensation in 1999 and in some cases before. To address this, the Stakeholders Development Network, in collaboration with Independent National Electoral Commission and some on-air personalities, intensified voters' registration campaign in some communities in Rivers State.
It is high time that women and young people, youths, become a part of the system. So women and youths need to be in the process. When I mean in the process, they have to also belong to political parties. They also have to gain positions within the political party. So we want to see more youths, persons with disability, women, we want to see them gain recognition by having, positions in the political parties and representing the interests of that demographic.
Representatives of INEC urged residents of the states who are yet to register or get their permanent voters cards, PVC, to use the opportunity of the ongoing continuous voter registration to get registered. They also called on those who registered but abandoned their PVC with INEC to endeavor to collect them. Some residents who spoke with newsmen urged the Nigerians to participate fully in the elections to help the country's democracy grow.
If you know you have registered, do not do double registration. Double registration will make it not to come at all. Don't say you are being disfranchised. The reason is, if you register and you don't see your own, make you know say don't register one time before and don't forget.
We cannot overemphasize the importance of this continual voter registration. Okay, everyone has to come out in mass to register so that they will be able to exercise their civic responsibility come 2023.
We are here today educating people to get their PVC. We started this right from my community, Dumo Kwachi, and today we are after Osoba and after Rumola here educating people to go out to go and get their PVC.
If you look at the statistics available in Nigeria, you would agree with me that the percentage of participation of youths is pretty much low. So we want to see that inclusivity, capturing more youths, capturing more women, capturing more people living with disability.
The group urged Nigerians, especially youths, not to just campaign on social media, but participate actively in the electioneering process, as INEC does not conduct elections on social media nor counts ballot boxes on Twitter and Instagram.
And ahead of the 2023 general elections, Nasarawa State governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Emmanuel Umbugadu, has picked Yahya Usman Ohinoyi as his running mate. Umbugadu made the disclosure at a meeting with state working committee members of the party in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in this report as presented from our studios.
The Nasarawa State PDP gubernatorial candidate, Umbugadu, said the party had zoned the position of running mate to Nasarawa West Senatorial District after due consultations with all the relevant organs of the party in the state. He explained that the party took the decision for strategic reasons to ensure victory at the 2023 polls.
Today,
With a combined score of 80 and above, permits me to introduce a running mate, a brand new running mate that will stand with me in the process of give a round of applause. Alhaji, Honorable, Yahaya Usman Odinoye.
Umbugedu, a candidate of the party in 2019, who picked Ohenu, a two-term state House of Assembly member from Toko local government area of the state, said he had the pedigree and records of achievement to transform the state.
I believe having an executive power will enable me to do more than beyond the expectations of the people of Nasarawa State. And that is why I believe I am the best man for the job. And if you want to do any assessment in terms of youth empowerment, in 2011-2012, I trained more than 650 youth in School of Labor in Kaduna. The facts are there. You can go and investigate. You have everything to prove to you that I'll be a focused leader, I'll be a leader, I'll be a governor of the people of Nasarawa State, a government that will represent the interests of everybody in Nasarawa State.
Umbugedu therefore said the party in the state is united and it will coast to victory in 2023. Earlier, Nasarawa State PDP chairman Francis Orogu corroborated the party candidate that the choice of the running mate was done after due consultations with all critical stakeholders of the party. Orogu said with the unveiling of the running mate, the party is sure of defeating the governing All Progressive Congress APC in the state.
This is not a joke, it's a reality. The time has come for the right government to be in place in this case. And we believe that those who know what it is for
PDP has ruled the state for 12 years, from 1999 to 2011, by two different governors, including the current APC national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, but all effort to return to power since then failed to yield results.
And still talking politics, the All Progressive Congress Campaign Committee for the July 16 governorship election in Osun State has accused the People's Democratic Party of destroying campaign billboards of its candidate, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola. The Director General of the APC Campaign Committee, Senator Bashiru Ajibola, at a press conference in Oshogbo, accused the PDP of sponsoring thugs who destroyed Oyetola's campaign billboards and causing breach of peace in the state. Basiru said the PDP was using thugs led by one Olamilekon Oyeyemi Ajagubwade, also known as Emir, to carry out its destruction. Reacting to the allegations, the PDP former Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Prince Diron Odeyemi, said APC was behind the destruction of Oyetola's billboards as a strategy to blackmail the PDP. Odeyemi said since Governor Oyetola is in control of the security apparatus in the state, he should deal with the thugs rather than resorting to complaining and name-calling.
What followed the fire for fire declaration by Jackson Ademola Adeleke was large-scale destruction of our campaign billboards and those of our candidates across the states, especially in the state capital. We have both the video and pictorial documentation of the large-scale destruction carried out by the PDP and its agents, which we can present to Gentlemen of the Press at this press conference. The next question you may want to ask is, how did we know they were behind it? These are our facts. Violence at the PDP secretariat in Osogbo. In the early hours of June 9, 2022, we got an intelligence that a certain known political thug in the state by name Olamilekon Oyeyemi Ajagungbade, otherwise known as Emir, had been contracted by the PDP to carry out the destruction as part of the conditions to sign him on for further destructive operations in the state ahead of the elections. And by the next day, the destruction began. By Sunday, June 12, 2022, Emir moved to the PDP secretariat to dislodge another set of hoodlums that had been working for the PDP before his arrival. This led to a shootout between the two groups as guns, machetes, and other dangerous weapons were freely used. Again, we have video documentary evidence of what transpired. In the end, several other passers-by, including citizen investigative journalists who were in Osun for an assignment, fell victim of the dastardly attack.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. And still to come on the news, the return of olden days kitchen tools. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Times have passed, and with it so many things that once were our visual delights. Technological advancement has brought about tremendous changes in the way and manner media deliver content to its audience.
As it continues to reposition itself to serve you much better, Media Trust Limited is rebranding its logo and visual identity to reflect our current vision and futuristic drive.
We have spread our tentacles beyond the pages of the newspaper to the digital space. The new logos and visual identities reflect the new scope of our multimedia reach.
Even with this development, however, we will continue to remain with you as we have always remained, committed to our founding philosophy, which is based on trust, integrity, openness, and courage.
The new logo, which is a marriage of a revolving globe and a mobile device, signifies the unlimited reach of our content on the digital space.
We are always the backbone of operations as we do our best to deliver content that suits your needs.
When you see a new trust title or platform in the next few days, therefore, do not be alarmed.
We remain committed to you and will continue to serve you through fair and responsible journalism.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now another look at our top stories. President Buhari sends ministerial list to Senate for screening. And moving on to other news now, the fuel scarcity that spread to Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, over the weekend is now biting harder, with motorists spending full nights at filling stations. Abdulatif Aliu reports that many stations have run out of the product, while black marketers now make brisk sales. The report.
Checks by Trust TV within Ikeja and its environs indicated that most petrol stations that are shut down said they have run out of stock, while only few were dispensing. In the few filling stations where the product is available, long queues of between 500 meters and beyond were witnessed as motorists scrambled to get petrol. Commercial and private vehicle owners lamented spending long hours on the queues. At a mobile station along the Abofomi Awolowo Road near the popular island roundabout Ikeja, the queue had extended beyond island onto Aromeri Road. Also at the filling station, many black marketers were observed making brisk business. They sell a 5-liter gallon for 2,500 naira to 3,000 naira, depending on the bargaining power of the motorist. Also, an NNPC retail station along Ishere Ogunosi Road near Omole was also dispensing with long queue of motorists as at press time. The situation is similar at a private station adjacent Grammar School Police Station, Ojodu, where a litre is sold for 175 naira. The situation has deepened the early morning dreadlock emanating from Aina Street, outbound Ogunosi Road.
Yeah, I've been here since after 7. With the manager told us that there will be fuel they will start selling by 10. So we've been here. All of a sudden, he told us that the MD said that should not sell. So we just stand there waiting for maybe they will sell.
I've been here since around 7 in the morning. Wow. I could not be able to go to my office because I don't have fare. And they were not selling. The information to our disposal was that they have fuel, they will sell by 10. And this is almost 12:30. We are still here.
This is terrible. I was here since 8 o'clock, and the line is not moving at all, and they are selling for cake. Others, we are in a regular line. Others are going in from other side, which means they say they know them. They are the regular customer. I don't know why that one should be. All of us, we are on the queue since 8 o'clock.
The scarcity, it was learned, has worsened in the last 24 hours as independent marketers under the aegis of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, said it is no longer sustainable to sell the product at the official price of 165 naira or 166 naira per litre. IPMAN had held a press conference on Monday where it explained its predicament with the current price of PMS at private depot. Secretary of IPMAN in Lagos, Akim Bolongu, said there is no way members can sell less than 180 naira per litre. It, however, advised members to sell at a sustainable price within their environment and make sure that the price is displayed on their dispensers.
And as fuel scarcity persists in the Federal Capital Territory, the Federal Fire Service has cautioned Nigerians against storage of premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol, in their homes. In an exclusive interview with Trust TV, the National Public Relations Officer of the Federal Fire Service and Assistant Controller, Fire, Abraham Paul, said petrol is a highly inflammable liquid which, if not handled carefully, can cause a fire explosion. He said many reported fire outbreaks have been linked to storing of fuel in residents across the country, a situation he noted is avoidable.
Scarcity of fuel has led many into buying and preserving of the commodity at residential houses, shops, in commercial premises and vehicles. Such act or method of preserving fuel has led to the deaths of many people and destruction of properties. In spite of the present scarcity of fuel, Nigerians have been advised against the storing of gasoline or petrol in the residential business complexes, as this has led to sad reports of fire outbreak in locations where it is stored. Abraham Paul, National Public Relations Officer, Federal Fire Service, speaks on the negative effect of hoarding fuel.
It is our appeal to Nigerians that they should not hoard fuel. Yes, here and there the fuel lines are beginning to build up, but please just buy, as you have need of, because these are highly inflammable things that, when kept in confined space or at home, will portend very high risk, not just to the individual, but even to others' lives and then properties.
He also said all Nigerians owe a duty to prevent fire outbreaks, as prevention is better and cheaper than cure.
Well, I'd like to start by saying that since coming into office of the present Controller General, Engineer Abdulgani Ujaji, his mantra has centered on prevention. Like he's always told us, and every time he has the opportunity to speak, he says that prevention is better, it's cheaper, it's easier, than firefighting. Our men across the country, they are ready to respond to any fire incident, but Nigerians owe a duty to self. Fire prevention is everybody's business.
The fire service cautioned Nigerians to avoid any act which could lead to a fire outbreak in their environment.
And security operatives have called on local communities to put measures in place in order to identify those feeding bandits with information on their targets. Kaduna State Police Commissioner CP Ekini Ayoku gave the advice after Sunday's attack by terrorists on churches in Kajuru that led to the death of 3 persons. The report.
At least 3 persons have been confirmed killed and schools abducted during the attack. The latest attack is one of the many incidents faced by communities in Kajuru, which is a reflection of the sorry state of security in Kaduna. An eyewitness, Bashir Usman, who recounts the incident, says the terrorists attacked the churches after unleashing terror on nearby communities.
So when they came, they met some people in the church. They decided to get into the church, pack some of them, gather them in a particular place, then moved to another village again, which is the Robo 2. Then did likewise. They moved from Robo 5 to Robo 1, They were doing the same thing. So they came on bike, and there were a lot of them on bike that came to that particular place. And to those that tried to repel the attacks, most especially the men, they got killed.
Government and security officials have visited the area to assess the situation. They described the attack as a threat to security and emphasized the need to identify those who supplied the bandits with information.
People can no longer go to the farm and farm. If you're in the farm, they will come and take you away. If you're in the home, you're never safe. If you're in the farm, you're never safe. Even on the road, you're never safe.
At least 5 communities in Kajuru have been sacked. The situation is becoming a humanitarian crisis as farmers no longer have access to their farms.
It is our desire again that we will be able to identify elements who are collaborating with the bandit, who are playing one role or the other.
The communities are now looking up to government for protection as the weapons of the local vigilantes cannot match that of the terrorists.
The representatives of all the communities here too, I want to advise you that you work on the enemies within. The collaborators, the people that supply these bandits, these terrorists with information, with their supply chains. Some people buy recharge card for them.
Sunday's incident brings the number of those killed in the month of June alone to at least 35, while scores of farmers and worshippers have been taken hostages. The terrorists are now demanding 100 million naira from the communities for the release of the hostages.
And gunmen have released the head of Zira village in Toro local government area of Bauchi State, Yahya Abubakar, and his son, Habibu. Confirming their release, Public Relations Officer, Bauchi State Command, SP Ahmad Wakil, said they were released on Tuesday morning and have been reunited with their family. It is unclear if ransom was paid by the family of the village head before they were released. Gunmen invaded and attacked Zira at about 2 a.m. on Saturday and kidnapped the village head and his son. Meanwhile, the need for public relations officers of the police to acquire relevant communication skills that will enable them disseminate truthful information to the public has again been re-emphasized. Speaking at the 3-day PPRO's capacity building workshop, the Inspector General of Police, who was represented by the Kano State Police Commissioner, Ismaila Dikko, urged the police spokesmen to continue to remain professional in the discharge of their duties. Idris Jibrin was at the opening ceremony of the event, which drew police spokesmen across northern Nigeria.
Organized by the Presidential Committee on Police Reform, this intensive capacity building workshop for police public relations officers across command and formation of the Nigeria Police Force is aimed toward understanding the roadmap of police reform on dynamic and strategic communications.
Police spokespersons play vital roles on managing information related to crime and criminality and in ensuring that the public is kept abreast of required information that will ensure public safety, peace and stability.
These police public relations officers are to deliberate on how best to reach out to the public with precise, credible and professional information with recourse to accountability.
All of us are working for one cause, and the cause we're working for is to make sure that Nigeria moves forward. And how does Nigeria move forward? By ensuring that we communicate strategically and also ensure that the police is adequately reformed. We also make sure that in terms of the reforms that we have, everything works to make sure that everybody is together in making sure that the police reform is excellent and also that we achieve success with it.
In order to ensure effective management of information related to crime and criminality, police spokesmen are required to acquire relevant skills in modern public relationship and community policing.
The 3-day fully residential intensive capacity building workshop will also, among other things, impact police spokespersons positively, particularly in the areas of police public relationship and communication drives to improve criminal investigations, capacity building, community policing concept, and effective service delivery. However, participants of this workshop must be reminded that to succeed as police image makers, they must be versatile and have deep theoretical and practical knowledge of all aspects of policy.
In the next 3 days, various speakers drawn from the media and communication cycle will be interacting with these Nigerian police image makers. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Kaduna State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, says that the termination of over 2,000 teachers was done to improve the quality of education in the state. The SUBEB chairman, Tijani Abdullahi, told journalists that apart from those who failed tests, other teachers, including the president and the then chairman of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, Kaduna State, and now president of the NUT, were relieved of their appointments. Abdullahi says the exercise was to ensure only competent teachers teach in school. Reacting to the development, the Kaduna State wing of the Nigeria Union of Teachers on Tuesday said the termination is illegal as the court has intervened in the matter and called on government to rescind its decision.
About sacking people, but about improving the teacher quality. So those who scored below 40% and those who refused to sit for the test, they were all been, their appointments have been terminated because the test we said was compulsory, and those who were encouraging teachers not to sit for the exam, the union, you'll be surprised, many of them sat for the test, but they were misleading their teachers. Don't go and sit for the test, but we have their names. We are going to reveal their names. Some of them passed. Some of them refused to take the test. I think the president of the Kaduna wing or something like that.
There was a pending suit number NICN/KD/54/2021 dated 30th November 2021, which the NUT claimed against the State Universal Basic Education Board as one of the defendants, seeking for an order of interlocutory injunction to restrain SUBEB from conducting competency tests, which is now the subject matter of the query and dismissal letters issued to some teachers in the public primary school. SWEC in session called on government to rescind her decision on dismissing of experienced teachers on the basis of competency tests, as it is inimical to the system.
Old kitchen tools such as grinding stone, coal and clay pots, among others, are gradually fading out in many homes as people gradually embrace modern cooking utensils. Now, despite this paradigm shift, many people still prefer the traditional ones as they can be readily seen in their homes. With the current economic reality, housewives in Osun State are returning to the old kitchen utensils, which many argue are better in some ways. Hamidu Egbadi files in this report as presented from our studio.
These utensils belong to the yesteryears and can hardly be found in many homes in the city. Those who use them say they prefer them to modern kitchen utensils. Meanwhile, as modernity takes its toll on these and many others, some housewives in Osun State are returning to old kitchen tools because of high cost of modern utensils. Mrs. Eunice Babalola says she uses grinding stone and clay pot for her cooking, adding that she enjoys them.
In our house, we are still using it because when you use it, when you want to cook, you will know that that there is a special taste that you too you will enjoy. Then the way you grind it, you will know that this thing is okay.
Mr. Gwenle Adebi shares his experience of clay pot and grinding stone in the village while growing up.
Know about clay pot because I've lived in the village and where we were using clay pot for cooking, and I know that clay pots, after cooking for 4 or 5 hours, the cook or the soup inside that clay pot will still be hot.
Madam Grace Dari say pepper mashed on the grinding stone and soup cooked with clay pots tastes more natural and are believed to be healthy.
The advantages in using the
stone to grind pepper. It makes our pepper to be very, very smooth and is very, very tasteful when you use that the pepper you grind on stone than that of machines.
Although others differ with her stand, there is a general consensus that old kitchen utensils are more affordable and readily available for those who still rely on them.
Now let's join Chamun Dabeng for business news.
According to the Nigerian transmission company TCN, on Monday, Nigeria's energy generation increased by 4.13% to 79,578.43 megawatt-hour MWH, up from 76,420.52 MWH the day before. Similarly, the amount of power transferred to distribution firms DISCOs climbed by 4.77% on Monday, reaching 78,529.1 MWH, up from 75,001.81 MWH on Sunday. Despite the progress, Nigeria's energy generation and supply remain well below the minimum of 105,000 MWH required for the country's power supply to be stable. Meanwhile, peak generation climbed by 0.57 megawatts to 3,540.6 megawatts, while off-peak generation remained at 3,176.6 megawatts. Notably, distributing companies received 98.74% of the generated energy. The World Bank says Nigeria's external reserves are projected to drop as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is expected to clear $1.7 billion in foreign exchange backlog and transmit contracts to foreigners by the end of October 2022. World Bank made the revelation in a document titled Nigeria Development Update June 2022, The Continuing Urgency of Business Unusual. Nigeria's external debt had been falling due to the central bank's constant involvement in the foreign exchange market to maintain the local currency stability. The African Refiners and Distributors Association, ARDA, which represents oil and gas companies, has warned that the industry will face considerable issues unless a far-reaching decision on the future finance of major projects in Africa is reached as soon as possible. According to the group, the impact of environmental, social, and governance (ESG) issues on oil and gas project finance has become disruptive, and procuring critical capital for the sector may continue challenging unless borrowers like Nigeria and other African oil exporters quickly adjust. ARDA's Executive Secretary Anibo Karga stated that attracting funding may become more difficult if emissions reduction, social development, and governance are not taken into account. Karga further stated that alternatives must be developed because the oil and gas sector is in transition, causing the closure of conventional sources of money, particularly from the World Bank and other national and international development finance institutions. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
And now a look at the foreign scene, where the Kremlin has said on Tuesday that United States citizens captured in Ukraine were subject to court decisions and did not rule out that they could face the death penalty. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that the 2 U.S. citizens reportedly captured in Ukraine were soldiers of fortune who should be held responsible for their crimes. The comments by Peskov made during an interview with NBC News released on Monday were the first time Russian official had directly acknowledged captured U.S. military veterans Alexander Dryky and Andy Huhn. Families of the men have said they last heard from the pair, both residents of Alabama, on June 8th in the Kharkiv region along the border with Russia. The men had traveled to Ukraine to support the fight against the continuing Russian invasion, their families have said. And now to sports, where the Nigeria Under-17 Golden Eaglets on Tuesday defeated the Junior Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire 3-1 in the semi-final match at the Cape Coast, Ghana, at the ongoing WAFU Under-17 Championship to qualify for the finals. Emmanuel Michael, who scored 2 of the goals, also won the Man of the Match, making him the 3rd most valuable player of the match award in the tournament. Nigeria will face winner between host nation Ghana and Burkina Faso. The 2 finalists in WAFU B Under-17 will represent West Africa at the African Championship in Algeria. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Nigeria Football Federation through the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to immediately commence the process to conduct election into its executive committee, with NFF statutes be amended to include other stakeholders who had hitherto been disenfranchised or denied equal representation in the NFF Congress. Adeni Ajishafe has more.
Following the delay in convening the 2021 Nigerian Football Federation Annual General Assembly, which the Executive Committee of Nigerian Football Federation attributed to an interim order of injunction given by the Federal High Court, Bayelsa State Judicial Division, concerned members of the Nigerian Football Federation Congress have convened a meeting in Abuja where they resolved to withdraw the suit to allow room for the Congress to hold. In a communique issued on the lingering crisis, the concerned members, while meeting with the Players Union, whose members are the plaintiff in the suit, resolved to improve the situation in Nigerian football. Chairman, Rivers State Football Association Barrister Chris Green, in a chat with the media, says the plaintiff in the aforementioned suit has agreed to withdraw same from court to pave way for the Executive Committee of the NFF to convene the Emergency General Assembly of the NFF.
The 2021 Nigerian Football Federation Annual General Assembly, which the Executive Committee of the Nigerian Football Federation attributed to the interim order of injunction given by the Federal High Court in Bayelsa.
Barrister Green noted that the concerned members deem fit for the development of football in Nigeria by making sure due process is followed, as the suit has been in court for several months with no result.
Well, this is a family. It's a family affair. And we wouldn't say we're docile, but of course, we've been here and making sure that we give every support to those that were put in positions to pilot our affairs. They are kind of in a situation where they need help, and that's what we're here to do. We're now trying to help them to removing that impediment so that we can now pave way for these meetings to hold.
Chairman, Board of Trustees of Players Union Harrison Jala says the Players Union meant well for Nigerian football as they hope the directive given by the Ministry of Youth and Sport Development backing the resolution to allow Congress to take place is followed immediately. This, he said, is expected to lead to the conduct of new elections into Executive Committee at the expiration of the current administration in September.
We've resolved here today that we are going to get that matter out of court. You need to also know that the federal government today also issued a directive through the minister that the representation should be fair and that the necessary changes that needs to be done for the federation to run smoothly should be done. That statement is out. That's directly from the president.
Adeni Ajishafe, Trust TV News.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Have a good evening.